Hello, everybody, and welcome to Voices of the Goddess podcast, where we empower, inspire, and uplift women to be the goddesses they were meant to be. I am your co-host, Julietta, otherwise called the Magical PT. I am here in sunny Fort Lauderdale. Although I'm a Midwesterner girl at heart, I was raised in Wisconsin, and as we're approaching summer here and the weather's getting hotter, I'm missing my homeland more and more. And as I said, I'm a physical therapist, but very much an outside the box physical therapist. So much to the extent that some of my clients forget that I'm a physical therapist. And it's because I don't just treat the physical body, the bones and the muscles. I'm also looking at the mind, the spirit, emotions, and how that affects our physical body as well. And in addition to being a podcaster here, I am also a jeweler. I work with crystals because I love the energy and support that Mother Earth gives us through these crystals. And I'm almost always wearing some kind of gemstone on my body, getting the support of Mother Earth. And sometimes I paint, and I don't mention it enough, but I am a fur baby mom. My cat Merlin is the most amazing cat I ever met. And I've had a lot of cats in my life, but Merlin scores on top there. I always tell people he's part dog, part human, and cat, because he possesses behaviors of all of those. So I am joined here by my lovely co-host, Allison.
Hello.
Tell our audience who you are.
So my name is Allison Mancini, and I have the amazing privilege and honor of co-hosting this podcast with Julietta. And I am also from the Midwest, grew up in Michigan, but have been in Florida for 29 years now.
Oh, yeah.
Holy cow. Wow. Geez. Long time. And yes, I too do not enjoy the summers here, but the rest of the year is beautiful. So we will not complain. We can manage through a few months of heat. Just stay. It's just like when we lived in Michigan and it was freezing cold and snowing, you stayed inside. It's the same here, just the opposite. It's really hot outside, you stay inside. So, but I'm also a human resources manager for an amazing company called the Gold Digger Girl, and a functional nutritionist. And what I love about both of those things, they completely marry together. The fact that I get to take care of all of our amazing staff and our community. I also have a passion to take care of women and know the importance myself, because I've been there, of how when you don't eat well and you don't get the proper nutrition, it really can mess with you and wreak havoc on your life all around. So I'm also a mom to two. I have a 25-year-old and a 22-year-old. I am a fur mom and a fur grandma. So I'm a fur mom of a dog and a fur grandma of a dog and a cat. So I've got them all. And I too just love my fur babies. So that's it. That's it. Oh, and we have a new sponsor. She's incredible.
Tell us.
Right. Our sponsor, so exciting, is Jewel Toned Interiors. And they are an award-winning women-owned interior design company located here in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Fort Lauderdale Magazine actually named Jewel Toned Interiors the #1 interior designer in town. They transform lives by the creation of experiential interiors for all people. It's what drives them to produce environments that truly reflect the unique personality of each and every client that they have the pleasure to work with. Just imagine how a strategic work environment can positively impact your bottom line. It has been proven to increase employee productivity and morale while making a lasting impression on customers and new hires. The Jewel Toned Interior Gems, as they call themselves, come from a variety of backgrounds with experiences in many industries, from restaurants and retail to offices and multifamily housing. They are proud to be trusted with something as important as your vision. So let them bring it to life for you. It all starts with an idea. So let them help you consider the possibilities today. Discover more about Jewel Toned Interiors and what they're capable of at jeweltonedinteriors.com. And we have the amazing pleasure of knowing the owner, Joy Linsky. She's incredible.
She's
And
also been a guest on our show.
she has been a guest on our show. She back in our beginning days, she was a guest on our show. And that was actually such a fun interview. I have not laughed that much in a long time. That was great. But she's incredible. The women in her company, the work that they do, we've both had the experience of seeing the work that they've done, being in that space, working with them, getting to know them. And they truly are amazing. If you're looking for an interior designer, she is your girl.
Awesome. So we talk about self-care on the show all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's one of our questions.
Yep.
And yesterday I went and had some amazing self-care. I had a massage with Marcia, who she's been on our show and she's been a sponsor as well. And it was just one of those, why didn't I do this sooner? It was so what I needed yesterday. My body needed it. My soul needed it. And, it was just a big reminder of the importance of self-care.
Well, one of our guests was talking about having like a masseuse that lives out in the guest house. I don't have a guest house, but I do have an extra bedroom. We'll trade for a board. And I'm kidding. My husband would kill me. Joking. But
maybe not. Maybe he'd like the massages just as much.
He might. But truly, I know the importance of massage and I too enjoy it. And every time I get one, I say to myself, I need to do this more often. So of that abundance mindset and that thinking, I'm going to be getting massages on a regular basis, at least once a month. I would like every other week. I think that would be ideal. Perfect.
Ideal would be every day, but
well, okay, and I don't have the time for that. I mean, maybe if I did it right before I went to bed, I don't know.
Who knows? I'm just throwing it out there to the universe,
Yeah, but you know what I love too, like someone like Marcia, they're also a bit out of the box massage, right? I mean, they do, that I think that's a really cool thing too, is, I think massage. So I don't know if I ever told you this. My sister was a massage therapist back like in her late 20s. Wow. For a very long time. She was very good. I judge all massages based on hers, because hers is, I love a deep tissue massage and she does an amazing one. So I am always very judgmental of other massages based on those that I used to get from her. But she had a great clientele. She absolutely loved it. But it really has changed. It has changed in good ways. It's evolved in really incredible ways. A lot of massage therapists tie in many more things. Some of them even tie in acupuncture. A lot of them do cupping now. I know Marcia does like a lot of that stuff too. So I think that's cool.
Yeah. My thing is, I hate going to a massage where they're just following the routine.
Oh yeah, no.
10 rubs here, 10 rubs here, 10 rubs on this side, 10 rubs on that.
No.
And that's, when I got on Marcia's table, she's like, what do you need? I said, you've got skilled hands. You know what you're doing. You do whatever your hands tell you that my body needs. And I am good with that. So it was perfect.
There you go.
Slept amazing last night. Woke up, even though I had to get up extra early this morning.
I thought of you.
Feeling rejuvenated. And so it was perfect timing to have that massage yesterday.
Awesome.
So with that being said, I think it's time to bring on our guest.
I agree with you. Hello, April. How are you today?
Hi, I'm really good. I'm really happy to be on this podcast. It's my first time ever being interviewed for anything like this, so I'm really honored to be here.
Talk about whatever. We're excited. That's so cool. And with that, will you please introduce yourself to our audience? Tell them a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Yeah, so I'm April. I'm a recent college dropout. I'm currently taking a life break, kind of just to figure myself out, because I really don't know what I want to do with my life yet exactly. But what I'm doing right now is I'm in Florida and I'm calling myself a muralist right now. I'm doing murals and I'm doing portraits. I'm an artist. I do commission work for anything that anyone could possibly want to do artistically. I travel. I've been traveling for the past 2 years, just like around the country in my little Toyota Corolla 98, spending all my time doing that, just jumping around. And then I guess I could talk about my little side hustles. I do a lot of gardening here and there for other people. Um, what else? I'm a yoga instructor. That's a little fun fact of mine. It's been like kind of an on hold hustle, but it's there. And yeah.
I think that sounds awesome. I think you're at a perfect time of your life to figure out what you're going to do with yourself and take the time to do it. Because so many of us dive right into something right out of college, whether you finish college or not, we just go into working, just, head down and start working. And then you get to the age of like 30 and you're like, what the heck am I doing with myself? Right?
Exactly.
So, yeah. Good for you. Good for you.
Thank you.
All right. Well, let's dive into our questions. So our first question for you is, what is one book that you wish every goddess would read and why?
Okay, so one of my all-time favorite books that I just recently read is Tale of the Time Being by, I'm pretty sure her name is Ruth Ozeki, something of that sort. And I started reading it in high school, and then I kind of like put it off to the side, and then I picked it back up a month or two ago, and it's this beautiful it's like this beautiful novel about like this girl who's like having a really like troubled coming of age time, and like how like she finds these little like pockets of beauty in her life, and she writes it all in her journal, and she puts it in this little lunchbox, and then this tsunami washes her lunchbox away across the ocean from Japan to the coast of Canada. And the story is about this woman who picks it up and tries to like figure out like what the story is behind it and like where it's coming from. And like it's a page turner, it's an easy read, but also it just like taught me to like appreciate the present and like everything that we have right here and right now, and how like that's all we have basically.
That sounds
I love that
really
you bring
good.
up a novel, because so many of the books that come up on the show are, more nonfiction books that would be, in the self-help or, personal development categories. And I think the beauty in that is that all these lessons that we pick up from the nonfiction books, those lessons can be learned in fictional books as well.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Their inner stories, and that goes a little bit to our book club book of, from last month, Women Who Run with the Wolves. The lessons that she was teaching were lessons that were carried through in stories. And, historically, that's how all information was transferred, was through storytelling. So it's rare that we get a novel brought up as the book recommendation. So really appreciate that. And it sounds very interesting.
It does sound really interesting. I know. I was like, I need to add that to my Amazon cart.
And even myself, I so rarely allow myself the pleasure of just reading a novel.
Yeah, I agree. I don't do it enough either. And I have tons of them.
You get busy adulting and you go for the nonfiction. I need more fiction in my life.
I do.
Yeah, I feel like self-help books, it's like whenever I'm picking those up, it just like feels like work to me. And I just like can't do that to myself. I'm like, oh, I have to like learn how to be a better person. Like, yeah, these people.
It's a lot of work adulting.
Yeah.
All
We
right.
allow adulting to be more fun, I think.
Yeah, we do. We do.
Yeah, and it can be more fun.
Absolutely. Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed. Okay, so moving on to the next question, I feel like this kind of, it's about taking care of you, is what is your top self-care practice and how does it support you?
My top self-care practice, it's a bit of a long one, if I'm being quite honest. Normally, like when I'm just like feeling like the world is weighing down on me and like everyone's like on me, like trying to get something out of me. And like I just feel like, you know, I can't get a break. I turn my phone off. I'm just like, this can wait for like an hour or two. And then I go on like a nice long walk where I shut off my brain. I don't let myself think about any of my responsibilities, which is like, you know, easier for me because I don't have any responsibilities right now. But I do that and then I come back from my hike. I like still keep my phone turned off. I cook myself like a really nice meal. Um, and I just like put in all my favorite ingredients. I like cook it all up and I just like kind of like stay present with that and like eat it just like by myself in silence, digest, and then go back to whatever I'm doing. And
That's wonderful.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, I need to do more of that.
yeah.
But you're right. It's we get so, this is a great conversation. We get so tied up in adulting and in all the responsibilities that we have that we don't ever take that time just to do that. But I love that. I mean, I go out, mine are shorter versions of that. I go out and take just a short walk. I may walk the dog around the block or I go sit out in my backyard and look at the trees and the wind blowing and that kind of thing. But yeah, to go take a nice long walk would be really nice.
Yeah. Yeah. And like taking a breath and just like going around the block to walk your dog, like that definitely counts. That's still like a reset where you're like breathing and
absolutely. I love that.
Definitely.
Awesome. So in this, it almost sounds like this might kind of be your answer to question number 3 as well, but all of us have days that are difficult to show up but we got to show up anyway and get things done and make it happen. So when that happens to you, what tool do you pull out of your back pocket to make that happen?
So I'd say like my answer to this one is pretty different, although like you can do that same thing. Yeah, like definitely like taking a break, that works, and like putting your responsibilities like off to the side and kind of just like letting yourself do what you need to do. But also like on top of that, something that I wanted to like respond to that question is that when I can't show up, I just like kind of like let myself go through the emotions that I'm going through and just like not letting myself ignore those. Like, for example, like it's a bad example, but it's also like a real example. Like, if I'm dealing with an ex, or like if I'm dealing with like someone who just like screwed me over, and like I just kind of like let myself be crazy for a bit instead of being like, oh no, like I'm not thinking about it, like I'm fine, like I'm just gonna like dive into my work. It's like, no, but like it's still in the back of your head. So I just like kind of let myself like do what I need to do, like maybe like if it's like stalking them, like, which is like, yeah, not amazing, but it's like if I got to do what I need to do, like text all my friends about it, like this crazy thing that happened, like, oh, like this person like sucks, like da da da, like the audacity they have, like I just like let myself get it all out of my system so that I can like start fresh before I go back into whatever I'm doing.
I actually think that's a really, I mean, obviously not stalking people, but I think that that's a really great, no, seriously. Okay. So I have a girlfriend who She's a single mom, but she's in the dating world, and she was dating a guy, and it just really ended badly, and it just was really tough for everybody. And she allowed herself to just kind of have that crazy moment, right? Like, those days of just immersing herself and letting her feel all the feelings she was having.
Feel your feels.
Yeah. And I really do think that sometimes in the long run is way more beneficial, because like you said, if we just bury it down and we just go about our day and pretend like it didn't happen, it always crops back up later. So you might as well get it over with and just have that emotional breakdown, or whatever you're going to call it, and just be that crazy person for a few days. And I remember she was like texting me, and I'm like, okay, just, you can be that crazy person. Just don't do anything you'll wish you didn't do, in the long run. But yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I think I appreciate and love that you brought that up.
Yeah. I like
when you acknowledge your feelings and allow yourself to feel them, they don't harm you. It's when we push them down and try and ignore them that they'll do physical damage to your body. I mean, it's something I deal with on a daily basis. And so you've developed a great skill at an early age. So I applaud you for that, April.
I feel like I've just like experienced a lot of forms of people, a lot of just like different forms of situations and like scenarios in my time, and I've just like picked up a lot from that. And I like choose to do things in a healthy manner, like in the ways that like I've learned work the best. And these are the things that I've learned. Just like let yourself be a little crazy for a bit, so you don't like project anything onto other people. Just like work through your stuff. Like you don't want to like pass any trauma down to anyone, which like, just like get it dealt with as much as you can.
Beautiful. All right. Question number 4, April, is, and yes, every experience that we have forms a part of who we are, but there's always those bigger experiences that kind of stand out and really form who we are. So what experience is that for you?
Okay. Like there's so many that I could say shape me. Like if I just like went down the list, it would like, this podcast would take all day. But I would say probably the biggest one that I can pinpoint right now is, I'm sure a lot of people have said this, but the pandemic definitely shaped a lot, like the way I think now and like what I prioritize. Because during the pandemic, I was still in school. I was working like probably 80-hour weeks. And it was just like the work was just like nonstop. And it was just like this cycle of like work, doing stuff I didn't like, eating, sleeping, waking up to work again, eat, sleep, work. And like I was just so exhausted of that pattern. And it was like the pattern that I had lived like my entire life on. But like I feel like COVID is just like what really exaggerated that schedule, because like there's like no distraction or anything like that. And I just like really thought hard to myself, like, what do I want to do? Like, is this really what I want to do? Is this how I want to spend the rest of my life? And I was like, no. And like all my friends were feeling the same way. We're all kind of like in this weird stage of our lives where like, we're supposed to like live like we just turned 21, but like, nothing was open. And like we were just like stuck at home with our parents, like doing school online. It was just like, really emasculating feeling.
No, we were just, our previous guest said the same thing for her kid. He's 21. I have kids that are 22 and 25. My 25-year-old was graduating during pandemic. It was just, we were calling it like pandemic kids. It's just a really weird time to be having these major times of your life where you're supposed to be graduating college, or you're in like, it's like you guys lost this whole period of time. It's a weird thing. And I'm sure it had to be very difficult. It was difficult as an adult. I can't imagine as a kid.
Oh my God. Yeah. I guess, yeah, I would call myself a pandemic kid then. And I guess like my whole generation is like full of pandemic kids. But yeah, continuing that thought, like I was finally over it. So I, called my school. I was like, hey, not coming back next quarter. Wow. I'm taking off. And then I started doing this thing called Workaway. I don't know if any of you have heard of it. But it's like kind of this program where you get to like travel, and it's kind of like how you guys were talking about like hiring a massage person and then like giving them your like guest room or like your guest house, kind of like that, but like a little more of like a campy version. Like like you do work for someone and then they feed you and house you in return, and it's like a beautiful opportunity for people of all ages basically who are like in kind of like life rut of some sort, and like they can travel, they can like pick up new experiences, they can like meet new influential people. And yeah.
And isn't that how you and our producer met?
Well, okay, so I used Workaway to go to Alaska to work at the hostel that she stayed at, and I checked her in.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So
that's cool.
It's like a cool program.
Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah. So, but our final question for you is, if there was one thing that you would want our audience to take away from this show, what would it be?
Believe in yourself. I don't know. Let me think about that. I don't know. Just like, yeah, believe in yourself. Like, know that like you can achieve whatever it is that you want to achieve. Yeah, and like if there's something that you want to do in your life, like go for it, do it, like take the steps that it takes to do it. If you're not happy with your life, figure out like what it is that you're unhappy with, pinpoint it, and like see what you can do to change it. Yeah, and like enjoy life, live life to its fullest, do everything you got to do.
I think that's something, you look at our parents' generation, Allison and I, life was about work and about going and doing whatever it takes to get it done. And I think our generation, we're going through that transition of, we started in the space of doing whatever it takes to make a living and have our physical needs met, to getting to the space of following our passion and doing what fills our soul, and that it is possible to make a living following your passion. And it doesn't have to be just going for the paycheck and selling your soul for a paycheck so that you can feed and clothe yourself. So You have anything to say, Allison?
I mean, listen, from a 21-year-old, I think to say what she just said is huge, and I think a lot of young people need to hear that. So,
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I mean, it takes a lot, just because it's like, we like live our whole lives being taught like this one way, and like just like this one like mode that we have to live under, and it takes a lot to like go against that.
Yeah,
I feel, yeah, and like I doubt myself all the time. I'm like, what the hell am I doing? Like, why am I out here? Like, everyone else that I know is like doing this thing, but I'm doing this other thing. But it's worth it.
Yeah, just you gotta be you. I think that's something that you can learn at an early age is really important too.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It's been awesome.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining us, April, today. It's been wonderful having you, and also wonderful, having more of that younger perspective, because a lot of our guests are old like us, and
Hey now.
it's good to have different perspectives.
Yeah.
And so we really appreciate you coming on and spending some time with us today.
Of course.
I also want to thank Jewel Toned Interiors for being our sponsor this month and helping make sure these episodes happen. And also want to thank our audience, because you're the reason that we're here. If you've liked what you've heard today, please subscribe, follow, like, and share. If you want to get a hold of April, Allison, or myself, check out the show notes. All our social media and contact information is in the notes, and we would love to hear from you. And with that, I want to wish everyone a magical day. Bye.